Are you ready to listen to my dad Joe and Uncle Justin talk about sports? Now on with the show!
The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years. You are listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show.
Boring.
A weekly podcast about sports since 2011.
Don't you ever get tired of being wrong all the time?
With a focus on football.
36-yard line of Philly, shotgun snap to Hurts, dropping back, only one person rushing, Hurts looking, standing still, winding up, long pass, it lands at the 20, no one is there, zeros on the clock, it's over, the Chiefs have won! The Chiefs have won Super Bowl 57 on a game-winning field goal, trailing at 10. At the halftime stop, 24-14, they go on to win 38-35. What a game.
Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff.
Happy New Year, and welcome back to the Joe Mays and J-Raff
Or just New Year.
Just New Year. It is 2024, for sure. I don't know that anyone is celebrating at the moment because I have to go through watching my team play Sunday Night Football, the last regular season game of the NFL season, against the Bills, who I hate. Now, I hate them more than the Patriots because the Patriots suck now.
I just hope both
couldn't
teams.
get the
I
five
just hope
wins.
both teams have fun.
Couldn't get the 5 wins. Yeah, you would hope that both teams have fun, huh? Yeah, it's going to be an interesting episode because, wow.
Can you believe we're at the last game of the regular season?
No, it sucks. Like Scott Hansen signed off a red zone. Like I wanted to cry.
New Year. Just New Year.
It's New Year. Here we are. Episode 390 of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. We're back after 2 weeks off because of the way the holidays fell. Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, a week and 2 weeks ago, respectively. Kind of crazy to think about. It comes and goes so fast, you know, when you start celebrating on October, Justin.
Well, I was going to say, when you have not a month of lead up, but months of lead up, I mean, yeah, that 1 week time frame goes by.
We start celebrating November 1st, and I feel like it went by so fast. But unfortunately, because of the insane amount of decorations we have, and then my need to reorganize the storage area when cleaning them up, I'm still undecorating, and I still have a tree up.
So are we.
I still have a tree up because I was just like, you know what, I got the main common areas and the outside because of the snow coming. I was like, gotta get that done.
We got our outside stuff done, and some things inside, but there's still some stuff.
Well, the majority of the inside is done, except for the tree behind the curtain behind Justin there. That's the last remnant of Christmas in the house, because there's a couple things that we consider more winter.
Yeah,
like it's not specifically Christmas related, so we leave it out, you know, snowflakes and things like that. But we got like a nice little tree. We like lights. We're a light family, you know. We like holiday lights, so that'll stick with us for a while and distract us from the awfulness that is January and February. Apologies to my sister and my nephew who are celebrating birthdays this first week of January. Happy belated to them. And to my oldest daughter celebrating later this month. But
and my dad's next week.
Oh, your dad's in January. And isn't your sister in February?
Yeah.
And my uncle's in February. And a good friend, Janet, February. Like these, I'm sorry, January and February are just brutal. It's probably better that there are birthdays to celebrate, because otherwise it would just be
But you know what I said? 37 days till pitchers and catchers.
Yeah. Well, we know when we get towards Valentine's Day, we know that pitchers and catchers are probably reported or are reporting very soon.
Not that I'm looking ahead yet. But.
No, not at all. But let's. So we had started. We were watching the Dolphins Bills game. I don't know if I'm going to want to watch this whole thing, but it also brings up an interesting conundrum here, and we talked about it before we started streaming. What do I want to happen tonight? Because if the Dolphins win tonight, they're division champs and the 2 seed. However, they would then play this exact same game next week, because the Jacksonville Jaguars are terrible and couldn't just win today against the Titans, who had nothing to play for.
So this is one of those Some people would think that like curses are silly and things like that, and I get that. But if we get into like reason, that's not what fandom is.
No.
After the Jacksonville player taunted the Steelers by celebrating with the terrible towel,
They didn't win a game, did they?
I think they went 3-6, but they
that was
right.
earlier
They
than
went
I thought.
3-6 and missed the playoffs
I
completely.
mean, they beat up on the Steelers pretty good.
Yo, yeah.
Oh, did he just pick that? Get up, get up.
I thought he was going to run back into the end zone.
Oh, God, it's Eli Apple. Hey, there's your Josh Allen interception.
Man. Hey, if Eli Apple was making big plays for you, he actually caught
He
it.
definitely did catch that. He should
I'm
have
sure
stayed in the end zone.
You can check it out. I'm sure his mom has something to say on Twitter. So,
He definitely caught it.
yeah.
So, interceptions by both quarterbacks already.
Yeah.
But getting back to the topic at hand, I don't know. Like, obviously, do you want your team to win? Yeah, I want my team to win. Did I pick them to win? Absolutely not. Because you know, everyone knows
No,
that. If
yeah.
you've been listening to this show for long enough, you know that that's not going to happen. I'm not picking them to win. I got a hedge there. But if they win, they play the same game next week. Do I think that the Dolphins can beat the Bills twice in 2 weeks? It would be at home both times, which is a positive. They did almost beat Buffalo in Buffalo last year with a third-string quarterback.
Did they beat Buffalo in Buffalo earlier this year?
No,
Okay,
they got
okay.
destroyed.
Okay,
48-20.
Okay.
However, this Dolphins team isn't the same Dolphins team as last year because their edge rushers are out for the season.
Yeah.
They're also down a couple offensive linemen, including one who's out for the season. Tua is back, so that's an upgrade over Skylar Thompson, trying to go into Buffalo and
Just a
beat them.
bit.
Although we kind of saw what was going to happen next week against Cincinnati because the Bills couldn't put away the Dolphins with a third-string quarterback, and then had Joe Burrow come and kick them in the teeth the next week.
Right.
I don't know. I almost feel like it would be
No, I
better for
understand.
Miami to go to Kansas City,
Right.
but then again, you're
Right.
on the road.
If you're looking
it's
at-
like 38 degrees.
If you're looking at this week, yeah, you want to beat them and win the division and host the
you
game
want to
next
win
week.
the division, that would be nice.
However, this is the weird thing. Are you telling me you're asking to go to Kansas
I know
City?
against the defending Super Bowl champions and the AFC representatives in the Super Bowl 3 of the last 4 years.
Well, you're right. Right.
Like
No, I get it. I
it's
get
all
it, man.
because of the Jaguars. If they could have just won their game today, Miami wins tonight,
And-
Bills don't even make the playoffs.
Right.
How great would that have been? Oh, how great. I feel like channeling my inner social media guy that I hate, quote tweeting cry to everyone about things that they don't like, and then turning around and crying myself when my team fails me. That's I think that's what's Gen, is that Gen Z? Who's behind?
I'm-
Do you understand generations? I don't know.
I'm-
That's just that's something that they like to cook up. That's a young man's game. I just sit there on Twitter and just complain to you about it rather than
How about today?
oh yeah, how perfect was that? So the Eagles were doing their disappearing act. The circus that they've
In order to
become.
disappear, that would imply you had to show up in the first place, and
True,
I don't
true.
know that they actually did that today.
But
so.
down 24-0. Quez Watkins gets a first down and celebrates Signals first down, which you know how much I love that.
Right.
Which is I'm sure why you texted it to me.
Right.
But we both saw the tweet at the same time. Was it Paul or who was it?
No, it was
wasn't Paul?
it was an NFL reporter had
Okay.
retweeted it
Okay.
or had sent it out.
Yeah, someone on Twitter had said how
It might have
it
been like
sums up and describes the I think it was a
Oh,
local
gosh.
guy. I
he
think it was
tripped
a-
in the end zone and
Oh,
had
great.
to dive out of
That's
the end zone.
perfect. Yeah, I can pull it up. Oh, it was Sean McBrien. Oh, Mike Drago
Okay.
Sports. Sean McBrien, writer, said Quez Watkins signaling first down while trailing 24-0 to the Giants is a perfect encapsulation of this Eagles season. But I mean, you know how much I hate
No disagreement here.
how much I hate players celebrating individual achievements when the game is not decided in your favor. That is a sore spot for me. I
Right.
hate that.
And there's a difference between like the being hyped and like jumping around and like the actual like celebration.
Right, yeah.
Does that make sense?
It's almost like when you're trying to shove it in their face.
Yeah.
Like signaling first down is shoving it in your opponent's face. If you're celebrating a catch and just like high fives and stuff like that. Like it's a little bit more acceptable to me. And then I understand I may be in the minority in this. I don't know. But like signaling first down is annoying.
Right. Like,
unless it like clinches the game.
Right. Or to me, like if you're the running back or receiver or something and you're hit like 3 yards short and you like carry the guy past and like you're just amped and you give the first down, again, not in the face, don't get a penalty for it, but like, you're just like pumped because you did just make like a big play or something. That's fine. Yeah. Like if it's the one that like, oh, now we've got it locked, we've got it iced away and you're not going to, yeah, absolutely. But down 24-0 in a game where you've gotten embarrassed and you're getting a lot of reps because the good wide receivers are hurt.
Like what are the players? I like you're just saying this is about.
You know what kind of move that is? It's a Freddie Mitchell move right there.
Yeah. Bring it back, run it back. Let's cook. So that just, but I mean, we're seeing it more and more. We see it all the time in college. Now we're seeing it in high school. Like, we see them do stupid stuff like that all the time in high school.
I've got a story about that later, but it's an off-show story. It's not like a bad story, but
Sidney
it's not
Brown
one I'm
tore
putting
his ACL. Let you know.
I know he got carted out.
Yeah, they believe it. He only go testing tomorrow.
Dude, and I don't mean this in the sense of like that it gets put out there all the time, and I don't mean to like say every surface because we've talked about that enough, like to know where we stand on that. But that MetLife turf is like how many people get injured there. Now also like one thing I want to think about is that distorted in my head because there are 2 teams that play there, so there are just literally more games there.
Yeah, well, that's where Jalen Phillips tore his Achilles.
Right, like, but that's the thing. Like, it seems like every week there are season-ending injuries on that field. Like, it seems that way, and that is purely anecdotal on my part. Like, you know what I mean?
I'd like to see the stats.
I feel like it is just every week you see an Achilles and ACL injury on that field. Now,
I thought he overthrew that guy.
You know, it's the NFL, and that's going to happen, but it does feel like
super far back.
It happens a lot there.
So
and they're going to put grass in there.
Is Mostert
they're going to
not
put
playing?
grass.
Do you know? I didn't even.
I don't know. I don't think he is, but I think they're going to put grass in there because they're hosting World Cup.
Yeah, that we could maybe we can do that in the offseason. Talk about that. So. I guess we should probably talk about the Eagles just because it's clearly the biggest topic that most people watching this show are interested in. We haven't had a show since 2 weeks ago. What loss are we talking about?
They had lost the Seahawks that Monday night.
Okay,
right,
so we didn't even know they had lost.
No, they had gotten blown out the week before by Dallas.
Okay.
Right, and then they lose to Seattle the following Monday night.
On my birthday.
Yeah,
because the week before I watched my Dolphins lose the Titans.
So they lose to Seattle when they should have won. Like the defense played fine, and then they let up a game-winning score, and then they're driving and they throw it deep for no reason at all, and then Sirianni lies and takes the blame, saying he was just trying to draw, thinking, oh, maybe we'll get a big play or something like that. And he's not wrong there. Like that does happen. But like it was the players had changed the play based on what they thought they saw. That guy's toe didn't get down then, by the way. But like it is what it is. It was still a bad decision. But like the Eagles lost that game they shouldn't have. They beat the Giants, but they hung on for dear life. Now, they were doing what they were supposed to do. And then Boston Scott gets hit by his own guy and fumbles to start the second half. Like, and that was one where, like, the defense, it's like, oh, the Eagles' defense, like, fell apart in the third quarter. The Eagles' defense gave up 2 touchdowns that had, like, a combined 13 yards for the Giants. Like, that wasn't on the defense. But, as you go and you just look, it's just like, I don't know. They just haven't been clicking at all. The offense, everything just doesn't seem to be working. Like they can't protect Hurts. When Hurts is scrambling, no one is open at all. Like no one can get open, which is a problem because you have good wide receivers. You have 2,000-yard receivers, but no one can get open.
Devontae didn't play today, right?
No, he didn't play today. A.J. Brown went out.
And A.J.
hurt.
Brown went out hurt. So, I
And
guess
DeAndre Swift was out today because he was sick. So you had a 1,000-yard rusher out, 2,000-yard receivers out, and then Hurts' middle finger was bent and broken. Not broken.
Was it broken or dislocated?
It's dislocated. It was like a tendon. Little
throwing
thing.
hand.
His throwing hand, but his middle finger. So they taped it up and he went back in for like a series or two, and then he came out.
So I guess my question to you, and obviously this is all conjecture and us just spitballing here because we don't know. What do you think is the reason for the decline in the Eagles' offensive line, specifically in pass protection this year? Is it age and wear is catching up to Johnson and Kelsey? I know they lost Sumalo to the Steelers. Or is Hurts not sitting in there as much, and is he moving around, creating the issues? Like, what is going on?
I think it's a combination. They can't. They're having a hard time. I don't know if it's recognizing or addressing the blitz. Now, that's a lot of different things. That can be line protections. That can be running backs whiffing on blocks like Rashad Penny today. Just whiffing. Like, yeah, man, that I know you didn't play a lot this year, but that's kind of why. You know, like if you're going to put that kind of effort in. And then you also need receivers to be on the same page and like get open quickly, you know, like, and the quarterback to address, see it and adjust. And it seems like they do a couple of the things, but they never, no one is ever on the same page. Does that make sense? Like, It seems like no one's ever on the same page, and that's a problem. I think that has a lot to do with a new offensive coordinator, you know, and it didn't come together at like the way it's supposed to. But I think some of it is self-imposed by like not running the ball, not to the extent of like every time. Like you have to mix it up. You have, if you know, like even if you're good at running it, but like you have to be able to run it when you want to run it. And the Eagles have been able to run, they just don't. And then they find themselves in third and long, and then that's a problem. And it doesn't make much sense though. They've got the weapons, they just haven't been able to really get it clicking.
Who do you think is more to blame as a unit for the struggles this year, especially over the second half, really the last third of the season? Do you think it's offense or defense?
Well, I think it's defense.
That's what I would say too. I think the defense, because last year you were, I believe, the number one.
So like
pressure defense.
Perfect example. Last week, right? Oh my goodness. Last week, at one point, everybody's like, "Oh, the Eagles' offense! Like, there's time of possession, they're getting killed." They had 4 possessions at one point. This is like end of the third quarter, or maybe into the fourth quarter. The Eagles had only had like 4 possessions, and they had scored touchdowns on 2 of them. You know, like I think they went like 3 for 6 in terms of scores last week, or something like, or maybe 4 for 6. But like they just didn't have, like, the defense gave up over 200 yards rushing to Arizona last week. You know, like, and I know Arizona has been different once Kyler came back, but that's not the point. You know, like, it's just you. Oh my gosh, I thought they were going to push him out a lot earlier than that. You know, like last week was that was the defense. The offense didn't lose that game. The defense lost that game. Arizona didn't punt. Arizona didn't punt against the Eagles last week. The only possession where the Cardinals did not score was when they threw an interception at the 1-yard line and it got returned for a touchdown. That was the only time Arizona did not score when they got the ball last week. That's not on the offense. That's on the defense.
Right.
You know, that's not the offense keeps going 3 and out in time of possession, you're leaving your defense out to dry. No, the defense was leaving the defense out to dry last week. Now, today, it was a complete no-show by everyone. You know, like, that's not... But, yeah, it's just... I would have to say defense, but the offense has had plenty of their issues, too. Like, there's plenty of blame to go around, but I feel like the defense has been exposed.
Yeah, well, honestly, that's where I am with the Dolphins too, because I know Miami struggled offensively, even though they put up like 20-some points against the Titans. They were gifted a few of those scores. They just didn't look great. They were just average at best against the Ravens last week, but defensively, like they've looked bad. They got destroyed by the Bills. They gave up 48 to the Bills. They gave a what was it 56 to the Ravens last week? Like that was to be the number 1 seed. That was what was on the line, and they gave.
Well,
up
that's like
56
I heard
points.
somebody was talking. They're like, they were talking. Well, what speech do you give? Does Mike McDaniel give this week? And somebody's like, a speech. It should have been last week. Should have been the speech. Like last week was the big game. Like, you win that one. This game is a whole different animal. This week.
Well, it wouldn't matter.
Right.
Well, I guess that's not true. It would have mattered depending on what happened with Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
Right. And
'Cause
Baltimore probably plays that different.
Their
but-
guy. Right. So it would be different because if Baltimore wins, now you got to win to be the 1 seed.
Right.
But you would already have the division locked up.
Right,
So
right.
it's an incredibly different animal. But I had I had zero. If you would have told me if they play that game 10 times, I don't pick Miami once because Miami does not play the Ravens well. So when they came back from like 28 down or whatever last year, like because we were playing football, pick up football game with our friends and family and whatnot, and I just couldn't believe that they won that game because like Miami always plays awful against Baltimore, always. Like they're terrible against the Ravens. The only two that I can remember them winning is the one last year in the shootout where the Ravens were just off all last year. They couldn't win a game against a good team to save their lives. They blew it against Buffalo last year as well. But please be no flag.
I was going to say they tripped over each other. That shouldn't be a flag.
So
Although it was 4th down, he should have knocked it down. They'd have the ball.
was that 4th down?
Yeah, they would have had the ball at the 40 or the 35 instead.
Football
they have it at the
IQ,
20.
man. Football IQ. But Miami also got their only win in the 2007 season on a walk-off in overtime against the Ravens, who were not good that year. Greg Camarillo, baby.
So, I look at it.
Oh, yeah. That's right. You jack him up.
I look at
This
things.
is the Josh Allen hate club, by the way.
See, look, they just get tripped up. There's not. That's not
Actually,
interference.
I think he tripped before. I think he tripped over his own feet.
So here we go.
He kicked himself.
I'm gonna flip the script here, though. Right? I prepped you for this.
Okay.
There's no such thing as momentum in sports, and that may
It's
drive
a weak no. Like,
some,
and I
some people. So like, here's the thing. As awful as the Eagles have been the last however many weeks, right? As bad as they've been, if they win next week, you're in the divisional round. You got a rematch with most likely the Niners, but you never know. Like depending on how the other games
I guess
go.
it depends on if the Cowboys or Lions would be upset by
Right.
the Rams or the Packers.
Right. Go Pack, go. But like, listen, like, I know that doesn't sound, and it's not likely, like they are who we thought they were. Like they showed us who they were every week for like a month and a half now. Like,
Yeah,
it's not like you just flipped the switch, but like,
well, they 1-5 in their last 6.
yeah,
Is that what they
Yeah.
went with?
Yeah.
1-5, 11-6 on the year.
right. But again, look at it now. Dallas and San Fran, they got their butts kicked. Absolutely. However, the others though, and today they got their butt kicked, but like today they quit when they saw they weren't going to win the division too. Right? But like the Arizona game, the Seattle game, those were coin flip games. Like they could have just as easily won those games as lost those games. They should have easily won those games, but they didn't. But like, so if you're telling me like it's a coin flip, then at worst they're 50-50 next week, right? Like, like you're telling me that as bad as they played, would you bet a significant amount of money on the Bucs to beat them next week?
No.
Right. And that's not to say that I don't think the Bucs will win or anything like that, but I'm just saying like it's not a sure thing. Like it wouldn't surprise me. Well, it might surprise me a little bit. But like it wouldn't be completely out of nowhere for the Eagles to win next week. Even if they don't play well. See, that's the thing. I think they could still not play well and still beat the Bucs. They could not play well and get smoked by the Bucs, but they could beat the Bucs. Now, unless they play much better, like we haven't seen in a long time. They're not beating the Niners or Cowboys. But like, you just, that's the thing. You just never know. You never know.
Right.
And so I don't think what we've seen right now has given me any confidence that they're going to go on a long playoff run here. But I think to like say they're done, well, I guess it's all relative. If you're Super Bowl or bust, then yeah, I think they're in trouble. If you're, hey, it's 1 week at a time now, let's see if they can survive week one, survive in advance, then I think, hey, they got invited to the dance. Let's see. From a secondary standpoint, there's a lot of talk that they may get Darius Slay back next year or next week. And I know, like, while he wasn't as good as he was last year, statistically speaking, he was still having a very good year. And it changes the defense, the secondary a lot when he's back there. And you're going to need that if you're going against Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. But,
So going back to the momentum thing, I don't like. I think it's a bit much to say that there is no such thing as momentum.
I know.
At all in any way. But I also agree with the notion that it's a week-to-week league. Like, these teams are so evenly matched, both with starters and coaches. A game plan and the way it's called, not just the plan, but the way it's executed, both by the flow of the game with the coaches calling it and by the players properly doing what they want to. I mean, it's a play-to-play league, not just week-to-week. So I do think, and that's why I'm like, if the Dolphins beat the Bills tonight, that's why I'm not confident they can do it next week.
And we look at this. The close games sometimes come down to like 4 or 5 plays.
Yeah.
4 or 5 plays change an entire game. And I'm just saying, like, I feel like the Eagles are good enough that at some times, I feel like they're, at worst, a 50-50 chance. You know what I mean? Like, and so I feel like they could win next week, and you just never know. You just never know.
What is
Wrong
going
way.
on? Like, I just, ooh.
But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. But man, I would. Can you imagine Eagles? So let's say Detroit gets upset next week, right? Eagles go to Tampa and win. Then they go to Dallas and win. Then they go to San Francisco and win.
You're asking a lot.
And then they beat the Ravens in the Super Bowl.
Oh God, I know Eagles, Ravens. I don't know.
Eagles, Bills.
Okay, I know. Honestly, I know who I'm rooting for in either of those games. It's the Eagles both time, because the Ravens and Bills are two of my most hated teams, with the Jets and Patriots. Like, that's like the foursome right there.
You could wear like a Ray Lewis throwback.
Jesus God, get out of here! What does a Ray Lewis throwback even look like? Prison outfit?
No.
No, right?
It's a
Because
white
he never wore one. My dad said, "What a freaking dreamer." So, let's revisit our picks, because I know we did this a few 6 weeks ago or whatever when we came back after Bulldog Hour finished.
Yeah, and some things have changed.
Yeah, some things have changed. So, let's look at the NFC North.
That was a heck of a catch.
So we were 3 for 4 in the NFC North, meaning myself, you, and my dad all picked the Lions. Uncle Rich took the Vikings, which in the beginning looked bad. The middle didn't look so bad, and then it got bad at the end.
We're not eliminated until today. So they were
technically, yeah,
right. Maybe
but
not for the division.
Right.
Correct.
He did have the Lions as a wild card team. Right. You had the Vikings, and my dad had the Vikings as a wild card team.
That loss they had 2 weeks ago.
The
was
last
awful.
wild card team. Yeah. So not too far off. NFC. We all had Bears or Packers last. So. The Packers, basically, if we would have flip-flopped Packers-Vikings, we would have been okay. But we did pretty good there. I know that's not terrible. NFC South had the Saints winning, me, and Bucks last. Completely wrong. The Bucks won that division.
Yeah.
We all had the Bucks last. All four of us had the Bucks as the worst team in that division. I had the Saints winning at the Falcons as
And
a
now they're
wild
going to
card.
beat my team in the playoffs. That's what I get.
My dad, worst of the bunch, though, probably only because he picked the Panthers to win that division, and they were the worst team in football. But my uncle Rich and I both had the Saints winning. You had the Falcons winning. I had the Falcons in the playoffs as a wild card, the last wild card, but still in the playoffs. NFC East, we all had the Eagles winning except my dad. My dad took his Cowboys and is correct there. But we all had Eagles or Cowboys making it in one way or the other. So both of those checked off. I unfortunately had the Commandos as my I guess second wild card team, no matter how you slice it. I had them as the 6th seed.
They really
which
had
earlier in the
disappointing-
year I was like, okay, they're what I thought because they're challenging, they're tough. I thought the Giants would take a step back, and the Giants were struggling at the the earlier mid part of the year, but Washington fell apart, just like completely imploded. Ron Rivera is going to be fired tomorrow. They're starting over. They have the number 2 pick in the draft. Do they stay pat and take whoever the Bears don't take or trade out of?
Right.
Because they, what's going on with Fields and their feeling, because they also have the 9 pick.
I think Fields is going to stay, which means do they trade out of that?
Right. Or
If
do you,
someone
do you
really wants-
take Marvin Harrison there? I don't.
Right.
Like, does that help? Justin Fields, like, I know having DJ Moore there was better this year than last
But
year.
imagine
but-
DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison. Jr.
Right, but I guess it's that. Well, at that point you'll know what you have in Fields, because I think the thing is he's an athlete and he's a great runner. Is he good enough in the passing game? And that's what they're trying to figure out now. That's not for me to answer. It just seems to be the question that's floating out there. He had been trending in the right direction. I don't think the Chicago Green Bay game was great today for the Bears. I mean, I know they lost.
Look at the flip side of that. Green Bay, people were writing off Jordan Love. And he threw for 32 touchdowns this year and is going and led the team to the playoffs. Something Aaron Rodgers in a win-in game was lost last year to the Lions.
To the Lions, who had nothing to play for.
No, because
I know the Bears had nothing to play for too today.
Right. But in that same
Rodgers'
situation,
last game as the Packers loses to the Lions
Right.
at home.
and the flip side of that, in his first season as the starter, with ups and downs, Jordan Love beats the Bears to make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's
Jordan Poyer.
there were some, and that's what speed does. If
Yeah.
they can keep him healthy, he's a great back. It's just he's tiny and has already been beat up multiple times this season. And with Mostert out, you got to keep him healthy. I know Jeff Wilson was taking some snaps, but now this is the point. So all day today, I was like, I'm not staying up to watch that game. I don't care what the score is when we're done with our show. Like, I need to get up early tomorrow. Like I need sleep. I don't want, but I'm also like,
Been there, my friend.
I
Been
want to
there.
be curious. Like I want to see like do they win and things like that. But I'm kind of more interested in what's the schedule next weekend. Like who's playing what days?
Who's
and
the
what
Peacock
times.
game? That's
Right.
what I'm interested in.
And like what are the? Because there's only 2 things that can change right now. It's are the Bills the 2 or the Dolphins the 2. Those are the only. All the other games are known.
Yeah.
Like the opponents.
Yeah,
and
the
where
NFC
it's being
the NFC
played.
is set.
NFC set, and most of the AFC.
Well,
is
and
set.
I think they said that at the end of this game, they're going to have it. It's not.
That's what I mean.
Like
As
they're
soon
going to
as-
announce.
well,
Like here it is.
If
It'll
it gets
probably
to the
break.
fourth quarter and there's a few minutes left and one team is up by 2 touchdowns or something, they'll probably start talking about it.
Right.
Or maybe not 5. Maybe like the 2-minute warning or something.
Right.
If a team is up by 2 scores, 2 touchdowns, I would say 10 points probably not enough. As
You know
the
what?
Dolphins have proved.
You know what they'll do?
this year. They'll still put up
In the fourth quarter, they're going to give you the NFC schedule.
Okay. Yeah.
You know
well,
what I
honestly,
mean?
they could give the NFC schedule right now. They could do it at halftime.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't know that they will though, because they want to do full
Well,
days.
right?
You know?
And you know what? They don't know what the matchups are in the AFC, and so they don't know. They probably haven't slotted those
who's going
NFC
where?
games yet.
Yeah.
They probably have it down to the 2. If this, then this. If this, then
exactly.
this.
All right. So
I'm interested in what the Peacock game is, though.
yeah. So well, it's not going to be Cowboys.
No.
You're not putting Dallas behind a paywall.
I honestly have thought, had the Eagles played themselves into that?
It could be Eagles Bucks. Is that the least? Because you have so many storylines with Detroit and Los Angeles, and I don't think they're putting LA behind a paywall like
Is
that.
Detroit playing LA?
Yeah.
Okay, I knew there was a chance it wasn't going to happen.
Stafford Goff in Detroit first.
Yeah, no, that
division
won't be.
championship
That
for them in
won't be.
30 years. Sean McVay's
Well, see,
renaissance.
here becomes the thing. Like, is that the one you put on there? Like, do they really want to see, or is this like an experiment? Like, I don't have the answer to that.
Well,
like,
all the
I'm
games are going to
intrigued.
draw 25 million people. But, like,
Dude,
except maybe the
we were
Peacock
talking
one.
about that earlier this week. That just stupid numbers, man. Stupid numbers.
Ridiculous numbers. So, thank you, NBC. I appreciate it.
Okay.
So, so the other games are Dallas against Green Bay. That's not going. No way.
No.
Dallas Green Bay. No way.
That game
Honestly,
that could draw 30 plus.
If it's an NFC game, it's Eagles Bucks. It has to be, unless, like you said, they want to put and they're not putting Dallas Green Bay behind it.
No.
So
They
I
could
still
do
think
Detroit.
it would be. They could, if they want to try to get subscribers. That could be, but could you imagine doing that to Detroit? Like, after they've only been in the playoffs how many times in the last 30 years? What is it, like twice?
Right.
Something like
Well,
that.
and okay, this will sound ridiculous.
Well,
But
you know what?
hear me out.
The home markets get it on broadcast. The
Okay.
home markets get it on broadcast.
Well, then, here's all right. This is deep dive here. It shouldn't be Philly, or actually, it should be Philly, because home market. Xfinity dominates the provider market.
They already
for
have
the
it
Eagles
built
TV
in.
market. So many people, more people than any other market, right? Like, are going to have it built in, and so like you're going to have fewer restricted. If you're looking for what would the most natural way to get a decent number there, I think that's it. Now again, this is me like, do they know that we know that they, like we're going multiple levels here, and I don't know.
yeah.
There are people who are literally paid to figure stuff like this
Right.
out.
Well,
so,
if it's an AFC game, it would have to be. See, we don't know. So if it's
like a Kansas City Miami
Well-
game could be it.
but if Miami wins, do you put Miami Buffalo on because they just played 2 weeks in a row? Would you put that on Peacock?
You could.
So maybe if Miami wins tonight, Miami Buffalo plays the 2-7 in Miami again. It's the second week in a row. It's just a rematch. Do you put that on Peacock? Going by Miami winning tonight, the 3 seed then is the Chiefs, and they would be playing the Bills. No. Dolphins, Bills are playing.
Well,
they would
play
be
the
playing
Steelers?
the Steelers. Chiefs, Steelers,
That's not going on.
I don't think that's going
Steelers
on.
aren't going on there.
and then Texans, Browns.
That could go on there.
Texans, Browns could go on there. Because of all the matchups, no matter how it plays out, that is a guaranteed matchup.
So imagine this. Imagine thinking Texans are going to play the Browns, but Deshaun Watson's not playing. Like,
Yeah, what do you do there? I mean, you can't bring Flacco back for another year, right?
no. Well, was it The Athletic?
I don't.
There was an article.
Oh, was there?
There's an article about how you can't bring him back because it'll divide the locker room, because they said there will be guys. The article actually said you can't even entertain the idea of bringing him back, because if he's back, even in like a role where like, hey, you're the backup kind of thing, like
no, because then as
it
soon as they
can't-
start to struggle,
right. They said it will divide the locker room, whether you want it to or not, and whether you have a good locker room and all that. They said you have to let him. If Flacco can parlay this into something else, more power to him. But like the Bills, they're basically what they said is the Browns made their bed when they gave him that guaranteed contract, and now they have to live with that no matter what. And man,
I wish Elliott would have lit him up. He was nowhere near the out of bounds. You could have hit him right there.
instead he went to punch the ball out, which would have gone out of bounds anyway.
Josh Allen would have ran over Elliott. I mean, I wish Elliott could have, but Josh Allen would have destroyed him.
Oh man.
So, all right, let's get back to this.
Yeah.
NFC East, we did. NFC West, I was going to say we all took the 49ers, but that would be a lie. My Uncle Rich took the Rams, which I remember we all were like, you're picking the Rams? Like, the Rams could be the worst team in that
But
division.
I think we said the key was it all comes down to Stafford,
Who's that?
25. I don't know who that is.
I'm not a Bills fan, so I have no idea who that is. But we all picked the Cardinals last, and we were all right. I took just the 49ers in the NFC West. No wild card teams for me. I had the Seahawks second, Rams third. You had 49ers with the Seahawks as the 6th seed. Uncle Rich had Rams with the 49ers as the 6th seed. Did he catch that?
I think so.
Dude. Oh, my God. My dad had 49ers with Seahawks. So we riffed there. It was the Rams. I mean, my uncle nailed that the Rams would be in the playoffs. He just had them flip-flop with the 49ers. So, again, not too bad overall. I guess NFC South was the toughest one because none of us took the Bucks and we all took them last. Otherwise, we were relatively close.
Eli Apple never even looked for the ball.
AFC North is where everyone is going to struggle because of what happened with Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Yeah.
All of us, well, 3 of the 4 of us took the Bengals to win that division. My uncle took the Ravens, so he did nail that one. He had the Bengals as a wild card. The other 3 of us all had the Ravens as a wild card, and I also had the Steelers as a wild card. I had them as the 7 seed.
So an interesting thing there.
None of us had the Browns.
And we both know it's more nuanced than this. But when you look at the teams
Interfering
that
with them and can't even
so
cover him.
quickly were like, no, we're not interested in Lamar Jackson when they put the exclusive tag on him or the non-exclusive tag.
Oh my gosh. Pick it again.
Did he catch it?
No. No way. Are you kidding?
Well, and this is one of those, it happened really fast, but the guy should have just jacked him out of bounds. The ball was tipped. There's no pass interference.
Right. Well, I don't think there was anyone nearby.
I thought, but because if that guy, sorry, I thought that guy was closer.
Does he hold on? God damn it.
But
Stupid.
They,
Oh, like he's a former Dolphin, too.
I forget what I was saying now. Oh, but like, the one that sticks out to me is like the Falcons. Think about it. Do the Falcons maybe win that division if they have anybody at quarterback?
Yeah,
Like,
really. Well, so that was
because
one of
they were in play for the division today, and
They got
they went back to
housed.
Desmond Ridder like this
Yeah.
week after like benching it. Like they could easily draft a quarterback, right? Like, and I think they could have traded for Lamar, but they were like within 5 minutes of him signing, no, we're not interested. And there's a couple. Now there are some that were on that list that they're okay, they're fine. You know, they don't necessarily need to, but it just is. It is interesting how some of the teams who were so quick to be like, no, we're not at all interested, probably should have been interested.
So AFC South all wrong again.
Well,
In very not terrible. Well, that's not true. My uncle and my dad had the Texans in last. We all had the Jags winning the division, which looked
Well, they
really
should have.
good for a long time.
they should have.
I had the Colts second, Texans third, Titans last. You had Titans second, Texans third, Colts last. My dad or my uncle had Titans in the wild card, Colts, Texans, and you had Jaguars, or my dad had Jaguars, Titans, Colts, Texans.
This was the year the Titans finally fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah,
I think.
finally called that one.
Yeah.
Finally called that one. Just, man. So, did the Jaguars finish in third or in second then? Because I know,
I don't know.
like, with the Colts losing to the Texans, are the Colts second? Or the Jaguars, like, did the Jaguars drop all the way to third in that
They
division?
may have.
That's rough. And who do you blame that on? Like, who's at fault there? Like, because...
Peterson, maybe?
I don't know.
So Paul sent out an interesting tweet today. I don't know if you saw it. It's Peterson's record absent the 2017 season.
Oh.
It's like sub 500.
Ugh.
Now, like close to 500, but
Well, I still think you and I are a bit undecided on Trevor Lawrence because we talked about him
dude,
coming out.
he was on. You probably didn't see it.
I didn't see
the
it.
third and fourth down. Right, so they're going for it on 3rd and 2. This is the drive. They're down 8. They need to drive down the field. Right, 3rd and 2. He overthrow. Guy runs like a 3-yard out kind of thing, and he misses him by 7 or 8 feet. They run essentially the same play on 4th down. Guy runs the route. He throws it it might have hit the bench. Like he threw it over the guys who were on the sideline.
Was he pressured? Like,
No,
why?
no. I mean, they're bringing some heat, but it's not like there's a guy in his face. No, it was just bad. It was just bad.
Well, in the AFC East, we could all be right or wrong tonight. Everyone picked the Bills to win the division. Everyone but my uncle picked the Dolphins as a wild card team. My dad and you had the Jets making it as a wild card team.
That one went out the window about 4 plays into the season.
So if the Bills win tonight, I will have got the AFC East completely 1-4. Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots. Actually, my dad will have, or you will have as well, but the Jets you had as a wild card. That's not happening. But so everyone but my uncle had the Patriots in last place. He did have the Patriots only in third, but he was aghast when my dad said they would only win 5 games. They didn't even win 5 games. They won 4 games.
Would be really and this is not me being facetious. This is me being sincere. I would love to know what your uncle thinks needs to happen with the coaching position.
That'd be interesting.
And again, that's not me being facetious. That's I truly from a Patriots fan would love to know what he thinks. I know he was big on Brady and he kind of like stuck with Brady even after Brady left. That leads me to assume that he feels like it's time to move on from coaching.
Well, there you go, Uncle Rich. It's not a challenge. It's general. We're interested.
Right.
Send us an email. So for the show next week, we can talk about the
an
New
email
England
would serve
coaching
great
situation.
because he can think it out really, and say exactly. Because that's a tough one, and I know it's not the same. Like I don't want people to confuse, but like I feel like it kind of has that. Well, no, it's a lot different. But like when Andy left Philly, it was just time. And it worked for both, right? I feel like it may be time in New England.
Just time to part ways, move on. It's tough to not allow him to possibly get the all-time winningest coach, wins record.
How many does he need?
He's texting me right now.
Okay.
Oh, he says keep Belichick as coach and get a GM.
Fair. My counter to that will Bill stay if you force a GM?
Right, exactly. That's I don't know if he's willing. Now maybe
that's what Kraft says. You've done this. You've had it your way.
And it hasn't gone well.
No.
I'd say the last
What was it? They said I think in 10 years.
That's what I was going to say 10 years.
They haven't re-signed anyone they've drafted in the first 3 rounds
to a second
contract.
I was about to say 10 years. Now I wasn't going to say anything about second contract. I was just going to say I would feel like the first 10 or so years, his drafts were praised. Like, and the way he drafted
and
was
all the
so
free agent
cunning.
moves. They were always the team that got rid of a guy a year too soon, but it always worked.
Out, yeah.
It always worked. They had guys go to like the Raiders, but they had some no-name rookie step in, and then they'd have somebody go here, and some no-name guy would come here, or the Dolphins would trade him somebody. And
they won for how long with no names at a bunch of positions? Like they made their names by being good in the New England system, and then they'd go somewhere else, and it'd just be like, just a guy,
not Chris Long,
Asante Samuel.
Oh God,
whose son is now in the league. So, where are we?
That reminds me of another story I'll have to share with you later.
AFC West, we all still went with the Chiefs, which was a good decision by all of us.
Yeah, they've earned the until I see otherwise.
Right.
And the
even
teams,
with their struggles this year.
The other teams in the AFC West have done nothing but solidify that.
Right.
We had some questions like, maybe I almost said San Diego. Maybe the Chargers, do it. That should be offsides.
So, did the Raiders finish in second there in front of Denver?
They won today. I would think
so.
Maybe.
I think did Denver finish 7-10?
I think so.
Was Oakland 7-10 or 8-9?
I think they're 8. I think they made it to 8 wins today. Denver's one where, sorry, Coach O'Neill, I think they end the season with more questions than they started with. And
Raiders and Broncos were both 8-9. This listing here on Google gives the Raiders the tiebreaker to finish in second, though. So
the Bills are getting banged up here.
The Jaguars finished in second in front of the Colts. They must have had either a better division record or better conference record or something, whatever the tiebreaker is.
A little consolation because they still missed the playoffs. After advancing in the playoffs last year, they don't even make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, rough look for Jacksonville. They need answers there.
And, you lost to Houston. Well, you lose the division to Houston. But you lost to the Titans. The worst team in the division beat you today.
Yeah. So AFC West, we all picked the Chiefs. My uncle had the Chargers making the playoffs as a wild card. None of the other three had any wild cards coming out of the AFC West. So again, not terrible. Unfortunately, my dad and I both cannot be right on the Super Bowl because we both had the Bengals winning. I'm not going to take a mulligan on it because injuries happen, but that sucks.
Yeah.
Losing Burrow because the Bengals were trending in the right direction with him. And then they actually looked like they
especially
had
once he got healthy.
Right.
They started off really slow because he was not healthy.
Well,
and then he got healthy, and they looked like the Bengals you expected to see.
Well, and they had a pulse as a team even after he got injured with Browning. Now they faded down the last 2 or 3 weeks.
It was just too long. If it would have been more like the Browns, where they just had Flacco come in at the last month. If it was just a month. But it was really 2 months they needed, and that was just too much.
No. So, but you have Eagles beating the Chiefs, still alive.
Hey.
My uncle.
So you're saying there's a chance.
My uncle
there's
had
Mostert. He's not playing tonight, obviously.
My uncle has. I want to say my nightmare. It's not my nightmare, but Bills-Eagles Super Bowl is not what I want. Especially he has the Bills beating the Eagles, which is definitely what I don't want.
Because not only would you have to deal with Bills winning, but you'd also have to deal with the misery of Eagles fans.
Eagles fans being dejected last year.
And think about this. Think about Adam if the Bills win the Super Bowl.
And beat the Eagles.
Think about Adam if they beat the Eagles.
I would leave that. I will leave our group chat.
He'd be insufferable.
I would no
he'd
longer.
Be insufferable.
I would leave it. Does it say Joe? Would it say
yes.
Joey Mays left?
Yes.
I would be no, I'm out. I am out. I would block his number. I would not allow him to contact me.
Oh my gosh.
No, but see, here's the thing. Never make guarantees, but I'm about to make a whole bunch of them. So here we go. The Baltimore Ravens will not win the Super Bowl. I guarantee that. I wanted to guarantee that they would make the Super Bowl, but I don't think I can do that because I don't right now know who else is going to.
My thing is, I feel like they're
them.
hot now.
Right, but are they hot too early? Do they have that momentum too soon?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'll say I guarantee the Ravens will not win the Super Bowl. Is that a hot take? I don't know, but I'm going there. I also guarantee that the Buffalo Bills do not make the AFC Conference Championship.
Okay, so they lose in the next 2 weeks.
In the next 2 weeks, the Bills are done. Do I want to say anything in the NFC? I don't know if I'm confident about anything in the NFC. I feel like right now it would be very confident of me to guarantee the Eagles beat the Buccaneers.
Dude.
What do I have to lose? I'm not an Eagles fan. I guarantee the Eagles beat the Buccaneers in the wild card round.
So I hope you get that one right.
So I'll stop at 3.
Won't you be disappointed if that's the one you do get right, though? Ravens Bills AFC Championship
I
game.
would much rather. Oh, God. I'll know very quickly if I'm Team NFC or not. Because in the AFC, if the Chiefs beat the Dolphins, that would be a tough pill for me to swallow to then root for them, especially with Chad not there anymore.
Right.
It's not as big a deal. I know people. There's a lot of people turning on the Chiefs just because they've become that team.
Right. They've become like the Warriors. The Warriors were cool for a while, and then everybody hates the Warriors.
Even the Patriots, too. The beginning of the Patriots run, people like the Patriots.
See, except they beat the Eagles in that
Well, okay.
in that second one. So like it was easy for me to
That's around the time I started to see things change a little. Not
but
for
you know
me
what
yet.
else?
It was a couple
that
years
was around
later.
the time Boston went from lovable losers
Right.
as a whole
to
to
being annoying because they were
just
winning everything,
and it
still
wasn't cool
whining
anymore.
and complaining
Right,
about everything. Yeah, I know. We were there. We took over. I mean, we were Team Red Sox all the way.
I know you're a
then-
huge Bill Simmons fan. So.
God, Bill Simmons. But yeah, it was like 07 where I thought really like started to grate on me a little bit, especially because, that was the year that the Patriots were chasing perfection, right, with Randy Moss, and 18-1 loss to the Giants. Yeah, well, we don't need to go back down there, but I kind of think that's where the Chiefs are headed right now, because I know AFC West fans obviously hate the Chiefs, and they hate Mahomes and his antics.
Right.
And as they keep winning and they keep beating other teams around the NFL, around the country, more and more people turn on them, and that's what's
Flag.
That's what's happening to the Chiefs right now. Well, and then you compound that with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, and there's so many people. I don't understand. I don't know.
I don't get it.
I don't care. I don't know why people don't like Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, the relationship. Like, I don't care either way. To be honest, though, I have 2 girls that adore Taylor Swift, so
There are
it's hard for me to talk negatively about them.
Worse people
Yeah.
to be getting attention,
Right.
and do all the time,
Yeah. So, none of that bothers me. Chad not being there takes the
it
shine
changes
off
it.
a little bit.
It changes it. Oh, and they beat the Eagles last year. For
right.
me, like
For that, yeah.
that was a tough one to swallow. And I wholeheartedly get it. But it's just,
So I won't cheer for the Ravens. I won't cheer for the Bills. I'll cheer for the Chiefs. Probably depends on who they're playing. Obviously, I'd be cheering for the Dolphins. If Texans, do I think they make the Super Bowl? No, I don't think this. I think that catches up to them.
Yeah.
Love D'Amico Ryans though.
Yeah. What?
I want to say I'm happy.
He has to win Coach of the Year, right? Like, has to.
Stefanski though.
Yeah, but they were the worst team. They were the worst
I know,
team.
and I hear you. I hear you. If he wins it, I'm not going to complain about it. Like that's not
right.
I definitely think he has to be a finalist for sure.
Yeah.
The Browns are an interesting one. I have zero connection with the Browns in any way.
But here's the thing I also look at, and again, you can't hold this against them, but like the Browns don't win that division if Burrow is, or they didn't win the division anyway. But like, do they even make the playoffs if Burrow doesn't get hurt?
I don't know.
Well, here you go. All four teams in that division ended up over 500.
Yeah. Well, I think we said it's the best division in football entering the year. We all had at least 2 teams making it. I had 3 teams making it.
This is another thing. Pump the brakes on the fire Mike Tomlin stuff. He leaves when he wants to leave.
So
oh my gosh. And I told you that. Dumb. I told you that weeks ago. And then when I saw a meme about it later that night and sent it to you. But like, dude, they had god awful quarterback play this year, and they still made the playoffs.
So the Browns beat the Bengals when Burrow started in week 1 but was hobbled and not himself. And then they got smoked by the Bengals. So they played in week 1 and week 18. Never with a healthy Joe Burrow.
Right.
Do they make... I don't know. I don't know if it's fair to knock the Browns down.
Well, because, and to be fair, they played without their quarterback too.
Right, yeah.
Like the last time. So, like, okay.
Yeah, I don't think chopping the Browns down to prop up the Bengals is the way to go. I think it's more likely that the loser of this game could be out if Joe Burrow is healthy.
Yeah.
Possible. I think this would probably be a win and in, lose and go home completely. I think the Bengals probably win.
That's crazy because I view both these teams as really good. Well, I think they screwed up that illegal man downfield call on Miami. I think that's what they were just going over because his leg was still in, and they scored a touchdown anyway. That play, that's the play. Who were we talking about? I don't think it was the Dolphins. Was it the Dolphins last week?
Yeah, it was.
When I'm like, why do you not run that play? The Tyreek out to the side? That is almost indefensible. Like,
so I guess so. It's not the Browns that would be cut down. I think by Burrow and the Bengals. I think it would be the Steelers.
Yeah, no. It would be. It would be. Yes.
10-7.
Yes.
I think because Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati just a couple weeks ago.
Right.
So I think it's different if Burrow's healthy. Now the Steelers have also beaten the Bengals when Joe Burrow was there in the last couple of years. He's been great. So, if Burrow's healthy, I think the Steelers are worst team in that division.
Right.
But they're still like a 9-8 team.
Right. Right.
So, but they probably don't make the playoffs if Burrow's healthy the whole season. Right. Probably. That's just my opinion. Or the loser of this game also gets cut out, doesn't make it. So, all right. Well, it is 9:30 now, so we're going to wrap things up, but I don't know. Anything to say as we enter the playoffs here? I mean, a week from now, we will have one playoff game will be happening, and then we'll have one on Monday night. So, unless the Eagles play in the Sunday night game or the Monday night game, I don't think that's going to happen.
I think, how do you not put the Cowboys next Sunday night?
I feel like Cowboys-Packers is either Sunday or Monday night.
Right. I feel like it should be Sunday night, in my opinion.
It's not going up against anything, right? There's nothing happening.
No.
Right? I mean,
and
basketball and
Monday's a
pointless.
holiday for some.
Does that impact?
No. I'm just saying, so I can stay up and watch.
The Sunday night game, not the Monday night game.
No.
If it's the Monday night game,
No.
Tuesday's going to come calling.
Right. We'll see. But hey, it should be fun. And listen, you gotta get lucky now, right? Get lucky and win some games.
So the streaks that we saw the 49ers go on earlier this year, the Ravens going on now, where they're winning like 5-6 in a row, that's the streak you need to be engaging starting right now.
Right.
So
you got to win your next 4.
Right. Or 3. If you're the 49ers, I'm okay with that, sort of.
No.
Ravens, I'm not okay with that. I don't want that. Sorry, Cheryl.
See, I'd be okay with the Ravens. I don't want the Niners to win. Unless they're up against the Cowboys, then I am rooting for them in the NFC Championship.
See, in the NFC, I don't know that there's a single team in the NFC that I would be like, I don't want them to win.
See, and here's the thing. I don't like the Niners. But there's a difference between not liking the Niners and it can't be the Cowboys.
Well, the reason I wouldn't want it to be the Niners is just because I don't want to hear Philly and San Francisco fans complaining to each other about the way things went last year and now how they went this year. The whole 49ers thing after the Eagles made the Super Bowl. And I'm not even a fan.
I want nothing, other than a Super Bowl win, I want nothing more than for the Eagles to somehow, miraculously just maybe get lucky again and beat the Niners in the playoffs. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. It would be bad. It would be bad. We'd probably have to cancel the show.
I know people will call me crazy, but to me, the 49ers are still the team to beat for the Super Bowl. And I know the Ravens beat them up at their own place. I do not trust the Ravens. I don't trust them.
I get it.
I trust them to be a tough physical team to a point.
Yeah.
And this is true for basically any team.
Right.
You go as your quarterback goes. And Lamar is amazing. He is quite possibly the MVP this year with the season they put together.
He may be, I don't think he'll be unanimous, but he's got a shot at unanimous again. And he did it before. Oh my gosh.
I'm torn on whether I think the MVP should be voted on after the playoffs or not.
Just imagine if this had been a bet on yourself year and he goes and wins the MVP. And the Ravens are like, oh no, what did we do?
I know going against John Harbaugh has ruined a lot of people, but there's just...
Dude, look at coaching in the AFC North. They've got 2 guys there.
Tomlin and Harbaugh.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Zach Taylor's looking like he could be sticking around for a while. And Stefanski, with what he's done in Cleveland, those are 4 good coaches.
Winning in Cleveland.
Right.
And Cincinnati.
Who does that? So
you've got to be a heck of a coach.
I feel like I just trust the roster top to bottom more in San Francisco than I do in Baltimore.
Do you trust the play calling in a big game in San Francisco?
That is a good question. And clearly, I know and believe Lamar Jackson is a better quarterback than Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Like, that is not up for debate with me. Like,
No.
I'm taking Lamar.
Speaking of, just real quick, I don't know that he'll be able to come back. I know there was some talk early that Mark Andrews may be able to come back for some playoff time.
Man.
Imagine him and Isaiah Likely. Dude, Likely looks like the next Mark Andrews.
Yeah. To finalize this, the biggest thing I have with the Ravens is, like we saw with San Francisco twice this year where they ran off like 5 wins in a row, someone always bites you. Mm-hmm. And the Ravens are now at that point where someone needs to bite them. This game against the Steelers doesn't count.
No, because they didn't even. I don't want to say they didn't try, but like
they tried, but they didn't have.
They didn't have to. Right.
Lamar didn't play. If their MVP doesn't play, you're not going to have the same team. Right. Kyle Hamilton also didn't play. Kevin Zeitler didn't play.
Kyle Hamilton.
Odell Beckham. Zay Flowers.
What a story that is. How people were like, "Oh, he ran too slow," and now he's one of the better safeties in all football.
Yeah. Well, I thought the Eagles were going to take him for a bit.
I thought the Eagles
probably could use him right now.
You think?
Anyways, all I'm saying is, it's not because I'm not saying Baltimore won't make the Super Bowl because of like Lamar Jackson. I'm not a Lamar Jackson hater. I just think the momentum, that streak will come to an end. It's a week-to-week league. I don't think they're going to rattle off 3 more wins. I think someone's going to catch them. And maybe it won't be until the Super Bowl, and maybe it'll be a rematch with the 49ers. I don't know. I don't see Baltimore winning 3 more games. So we'll get into picks, and I mean, I guess we should probably put them out this week before some of the games are played.
Yeah, but we got to see what the matchups are.
Yeah, we got to see what the final matchups are. We'll put
we
something
can do
out
that.
on
We can put it
social
out. Yep.
And make sure everyone knows. But anything else to say, Justin?
Go Birds.
I'll say once again, a belated birthday to my nephew Logan, my sister Corinne.
Early birthday to my dad.
Early birthday to your dad. Although we have another show before or not?
No, it's Saturday.
Saturday. Oh, Saturday. Okay, so happy early birthday to Pastor Jeff, and I'm probably forgetting someone, but we'll catch you all up next week. We will be back for episode 391, recapping Super Wildcard Weekend, watching the Sunday night game live and previewing the Monday night game, and putting a bow on the 2023 regular season completely. And excited to talk playoff football. I am very sad, though, that Red Zone is over and that we're down to just 1 game at a time. Although Super Wildcard Weekend is fun, though, because you have a lot of football on.
Yes.
There's, 2 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday, and a game Monday?
Yeah.
That's still nice. Then when you get to the divisional round, you're just kind of like, oh, this is sad.
Right, that's why some people used to say divisional round was the best weekend. Now it's wildcard.
Wildcard round is the best weekend now. So, well, enjoy the rest of tonight's game. Go Dolphins. I hope they win the division. That would be nice. I'm more excited or more interested in them winning next weekend because, as I've said many times, and I'll leave you with this, the Dolphins have not won a playoff game since 2000. December 30th, 2000, I believe it was, against the Indianapolis Colts. For those keeping score at home or those not good at math, that was 23 years ago. Over 23 years ago now is where it's January 7th, 2024. So it would be nice to say that I've seen the Dolphins win a playoff game this millennium. Because I haven't, or I guess technically they did, but since the second to last day of the new millennium, the Dolphins have not won a playoff game. So, again, want them to win tonight. If they don't, though, I just need them to win next week,
Right.
Because that's the most important thing when it's win or go home. So let's take care of that next week, please, and thank you. All right, for Justin, I'm Joe Mays. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. Woo-hoo! You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your emails to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as the Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.